the dynamic in a heavy position more on towards Kongye if he gets a hold of, playmaking junglers or team fighting junglers.
Well, into draft we go. Machi going to be on your blue side, AHQ on red, and immediately the Galio ban coming out, as that's been always kind of the pocket go-to for Uniboy when he wants to just cause chaos in one of those side lanes during the 15 to 20 minute mark. So won't be having that, and no Volibear actually coming out from Machi. Even interesting, I know you mentioned during the break here, Machi's actually the only team to actually net victories with the Volibear consistently.
Yeah, the win rate for Volibear unfortunately has been very tragic for the PCS. But yes, Machi's the only one who managed to get a win, and look at that set taken out of the table for Uniboy. So what is left on that usual utility position, whereas we often see the Twisted Fate being picked, but that is also banned. So are we going back to the traditional mages for both of these teams?
Well, we do see, though, Gemini gets his Graves, which he's been a fan of ever since the mid-season showdown. Back when he was playing up against the VCS, he looked like the best jungler in that tournament. Come back into spring, he's still up there in contention, but there's still a little bit of a battle, you could say, between three of the main people when it comes to the PCS. But across the board, it is going to be AHQ, likely now picking up the Aphelios once again for Wako.
Yeah, I am absolutely happy to see, Gemini here on this Graves instead of his usual go-to, which is the Trundle. It didn't work out so well when they first fought each other rather come summer, but AHQ already solidifying their bot lane with this Thresh and Aphelios. Really good scaling. Thresh also really good. Really, it can be paired with anything for Kongye if they do want to get those early game picks.
And the go-to answer when there's an Aphelios, well, you got to go ahead and get that Ashe before he gets banned out in the second round. Obviously, just kind of good at neutralizing the lane, but that has not stopped AHQ before from just being hyper-aggressive in their bot side to just try and funnel as much turret plating as they can onto Wako. So I'm interested to see if Bruce and, of course, Koala will be able to still match them, as now we're likely looking at possibly a support pickup for Koala if he wants to go and try and go for roams, or that's a lot of priority on Mission. The last time, though, we saw the Zoe for Mission, it wasn't all that impactful.
Yeah, during the beginning of Mission, during spring, he had a phenomenal performance. He's the most consistent mid laner, but now, off to a rough start, having a 43% kill participation around week 2, I suppose. But yes, that is also Uniboy's go-to. If Galio is gone, Set is gone, you can also opt for this Lissandra as to neutralize the lane. And it's also great because not only you have a very good pick champion such as the Thresh, you have the Lissandra, and whatever Kongye picks will definitely be the death of Mission here in the mid lane.
Yeah, because it has real good follow-up, and especially once Mission, if he tries to just jump in with the portal, it's so telegraphed is the issue that he might be exposed, especially if he's not going to run Cleanse, which we've seen now a couple mid laners actually do up against Lissandra, and it kind of feels awful. And it allows for perma push to come out of the mid lane for Uniboy, so it means that Mission himself won't be able to roam a whole lot without having to first clear the wave or lose out on minions and lose out on farm. That if he's not able to get a successful gank off, it could spell pretty big disaster here for Machi. As we take a look toward our second round of bans, it is going to be the Kench as well as the Nautilus being banned away there from Koala. A lot of those playmakers that he likes to roam on not going to be exactly available. Could still fall back, though, onto something like a Leona.
Yeah, if they do want to have that solid engage as well. Also, anti-aggressive team comps with Bard would also work well for Koala. It is still open for the taking, but HQ slowly diminishing the pool of any sort of heavy engage, at least an additional safety for the Ashe. So whatever Kongye is going to be picking up will be extremely scary for not only Mission on this Zoe pick, but also for Gemini. Lee Sin is actually that good activator when it comes to that go button for that hyper early game aggression. And again, for Machi, it's all about trying to stay safe, or Gemini keeping up the pace and matching Kongyu in the jungle.
Yeah, Kongyu's always been one to not be afraid to pick up the Lee Sin, especially up into the Graves matchup. So there you go. Now for Machi. Got to look toward your top lane as well as the support. The Leona I mentioned a little bit earlier, kind of that last hyper-aggressive engaged champion that you can still roam on, is going to go ahead and get locked in. Now you got to look toward your top lane. What do you want to run in, as Leaky still has the counter pick, and we do still have options like that Mordekaiser if they want to go safe for something with PK.
Yeah. For PK, absolutely. Can also fall back to, I suppose, never mind. The Wukong is already banned out, so we'll have to see what he decides to pick up. Can either go Ornn or possibly the Renekton, but never mind. Ornn would be that additional beefy frontline, considering the fact that they already have 3 damage dealers on the side of Machi.
3 damage dealers, but they're mainly single target. You take a look at the team fight here, and it's not necessarily all that great. You kind of have PK having to be forced onto this Ornn to be the front line, but also just to have some sort of knock-up CC for more than just one person. And for Leaky, if he really wants to, he can now pick something that scales alongside the Aphelios, and this already screams for AHQ, hey, this is going to be about a 30 to 35 minute game if they're able to play the way that they wish to. And there's not going to be a whole lot stopping Leaky from getting out of control or scaling, because, again, Gemini is going to be more on something like a power farmer in the jungle.
Yeah, for AHQ, they will definitely be in a comfortable lane when it comes to having to scale either Aphelios and as well as the Gangplank. I'm a little bit concerned, though, since you did bring up how a lot of them really are very powerful when it comes to that single target damage. Therefore, your single primary threat on AHQ side is just the Aphelios. Therefore, Machi does have a lot of answers to remove that win condition.
Yeah, I feel like this match is going to focus more toward now our mid lane in particular, because Mission last time around, he had the Zoe, wasn't all that impactful up against AHQ last week. Uniboy and Kongyu have always mentioned that these have been the 2 core catalyst players when it comes to AHQ success, and this time around, I feel like Uniboy has a slightly favored matchup, and overall AHQ, they're looking toward the later game team fights to go in their favor, and it's up to Machi to try and close down this game early with some heavy engages out of their bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm scared for, Zoe Graves combo as well. Very, very high input damage, and was able to burst someone down immediately.
So we're going to go ahead and load on into the Rift. Of course, it's a rematch between Machi and AHQ. Last time, AHQ were able to take home the victory. It's our match of the week when it comes to week 4 and our second last game of the day. And we'll see how each one of these teams start off their second round of the double round robin.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
I'm not gonna lie, there's something a little bit hilarious seeing Wako kind of like mind control his guns outside the fountain while you have like, drums going on in the background. He's like, you know what? Spinny guns and bass. All right. Back to this though, of course.
It's a good balance.
It's a good balance. You got to have a little bit of relief, a little bit of a laugh before coming into what could possibly be one of the more crucial matchups. There's a very big possibility these two teams tie near the top of the standings. They're only separated right now by 1 game. And if AHQ were able to take home the victory, they would actually own the tiebreaker up against Machi, which either puts you up toward the top side of the bracket in playoffs or into the lower bracket for round 1.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at yesterday's theme, it was the red side victory. It makes me wonder now if the theme for today would be a 1-1 score, as, the match that we saw earlier, the Berjai HK one, ended up in a 1-1. And I'm sure Machi will be very excited to get the revenge against AHQ.
Yeah, because remember, second round robin for Machi back in spring, that's where they accelerated. They actually went on that undefeated streak. I think it was actually something like 12 games as they were able
12,
to
yes.
12 games, so they picked up the full round robin of the second half, as well as 3 from the first at the tail end. So we'll see whether or not they were able to replicate that success. And, of course, one of those teams that they were able to take down was, of course, AHQ. So I think for AHQ, this is something to prove here, especially now that you've been able to take home the first victory, which I think last time around was such a skirmish-heavy, a bit of a mess of a game, to say the very least. You had like an Echo diving into the jungle fights at like 15 minutes. It just got out of control for Machi, whereas this time AHQ, they picked a much more calm, collective style that requires them to execute the team comp correctly.
Nice hook, though.
Does force out a hook, actually, out of Bruce, as well as the cleanse, so not bad start here for Ysera, and they actually force him back during level 1. That is not the start you're looking for Bruce.
Yeah, it's the perfect opportunity considering Wako Ysera reached level 2 first. Koala without that Leona, Zenith Blade stun to counter any sort of aggression. They force Bruce not only to go back early, but also forcing the cleanse out.
And he loses 2 waves because it just got crashed into the tower, so that's a beautiful start coming out from Wako and Ysera after landing the Thresh hook. I wasn't expecting to actually go for it, but Bruce and Koala get caught out early. Look at this, though. Early ward spotted out here by Leaky, and I was wondering, are you going to try and gank a Gangplank consistently with a Graze without a whole lot of CC? Looks like they tried to, but Kongyu, sneaking around, just wants to make sure that he keeps Leaky safe.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that would be the opportunity, but again, Gemini meeting Kongyu, though.
Mission's going to roam over as well. Does have the bubble himself, but guess what? Kongyu is able to safeguard to safety to the ward, and now Uniboy going into a tussle. Koala, though, already on the roam. He said, all right, even though our bot lane kind of lost out at that level 2, I'm still going to try and roam and try and make a kill happen mid.
Perhaps this is round number 2 for Gemini, visiting topside once more.
Well, Leaky is going to realize now that PK is getting himself rather aggressive, not going to be able to flash away from the knockup. Now jumps out forward, also has that orange, should be able to keep himself safe, but flash down for the Gangplank.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been a different story if Gemini still had his red buff around and would have most likely have landed the kill on towards Leaky, but it's just a blue buff for now, and he's able to escape scotch-free. Well, not really, but I'm a little bit afraid because Flash is already gone. Therefore, Leaky will have to be a little bit careful as Gemini can potentially visit that lane once more.
With that focus from Gemini toward the top side of the map, I'm interested then, will Kongyu decide, all right, well, I'll take the bot side, and then we'll try and really pressure back Bruce, who's already, technically down 2 waves in minions, as well as some experience. Do they want to try and go for a play before the level 6 is online for Machi? Do see the defensive ward in the river, though. Will keep them safe, so they have an idea where this Lee Sin is.
Yeah, still not able to do a gank on towards bot side. HQ, though, is able to do well without the interference of Kongyu whatsoever because of that initial force back on towards Bruce. And yeah, because of, again, this Lissandra pick, Mission is going to get chunked a little bit when it comes to the waves for sure, as Uniboy's Q on this Lissandra definitely more effective than Mission's Petal Star at the moment, especially without the usual Ludens. And with that said, though, Machi bot lane getting zoned a little bit out of respect against Wako and Ysera.
And you mentioned back in the draft, you take Ashe for the neutralization of this Aphelios, but right now Wako's having the time of his life. He's almost going to be double in the CS right now of Bruce on this wave, and it looks like finally Gemini Mission, they say, okay, we tried our best toward Leaky, but we kind of have to now do something about this bot lane because we feel like Wako's getting a little bit too comfortable.
And the big difference is that level 1 transition to level 2, and that pick on that Thresh as well. And I think it snowballed a little bit because Koala wasn't around for any sort of punish. But in the meantime, though, HQ bot lane will be satisfied with this, hoping to, get that call up. And almost time is usually this is the time where junglers trade either that first dragon, considering the fact HQ as a priority over their lane so far.
Yeah, they got the priority. We'll see whether or not Wako and Ysera actually look to try and go back. Here is Mission, trying to go for the 1v1 again up against Uniboy. Picks up a free heal, so why not? Try and get some damage back here on that Zoe, but again, level 5 hit. Still waiting for level 6, possibly of Wako. Maybe they want to try and go for an engage, but there you go. AHQ, level 6 for Uniboy. Time to go for a play as Kongyu's going to go ahead and start Infernal.
Mission still has cleanse, has that heal at least from the Spell Thieves. But yeah, because of that priority, Machi has no choice but to give this up. But based from their movements, guess not.
Guess not. Hook is going to land, but in comes the teleport on the side of PK. Wants to jump into the middle end. All right, one teleport forces AHQ to completely back off. Cannon Barrage super late from Leaky, as that only gets the second wave in, as the rest of the team already disengaged. And a nice answer there from Machi saying, all right, you know what? You had all this pressure bot. We aren't going to let you just easily take down this Infernal. Leaky, though, does get his first turret plate.
Yeah, that is a really, really well-placed ward for that teleport. And HQ would have been in a very awkward spot, such as Leaky.
Well, Leaky does
Maybe he's
spot
gonna turn
him out,
around.
though, with that control ward. Kind of wanted to stay by and maybe pick up a second plate, but now has to find himself a way out of the jungle, which, unfortunately, does he get spotted out? Mission? Oh, he didn't spot him. Oh, but they did see the ward go down, so they know where he is. Unfortunately, Leaky may just execute to the tower, and it looks like that is going to be the play. Mission does have flash, though, so he should be able to get himself within range, and there you go. First blood over to the Zoe.
And that's going to be worth the Flash having to get that early first blood, extra goal at least over towards or against Uniboy, since Mission has been a little bit pushed out under his own tower. But yeah, it seems to me that is actually the unfortunate thing about early game, picks on the Gangplank. Not able to contribute as much when it comes to the early game, having to just farm up later on for the barrels to be impactful, and only contributing the cannon barrage. And it's so different with PK's presence when it comes to that Ornn in team fights. And HQ will have to be a little bit careful and have to pick someone up out first for Machi before they can enter and be confident enough when it comes to the objectives.
There you go. Koala looking for the Zenith Blade. Arrow is online for Bruce, so he could actually look for this play. As Waco's been non-stop pushing in, now up almost 4 waves in bot lane, and was starting to get within kill range of Bruce if he got poked again by either Ysera or Waco himself, but doesn't have the right gun setup maybe for a dive, as Mission's going to be able to pick up his first blue buff. And the fact that he got pretty much donated first blood here by Leaky because he got pushed in underneath tower, question becomes, what is Mission going to be able to do on the map this time around alongside Gemini as they start up their first Rift Herald?
And HQ do know that this is happening, know that it's pulled out of the pit. Uniboy doesn't have teleport. Bot lane hasn't rotated, and therefore HQ has to watch this go. Maybe never mind.
Here we go. Machi are going to be able to secure the Rift Herald. They just need to walk up to the pit, but Uniboy steps forward. They'll call the Forge God coming out, as well as the knock-up from the quick burst. But Leaky coming over towards the side, has that gameplay, a nice barrel combo. In comes Kongu, over to the wall, gets the kick back, and
Wow.
Uniboy able to smack him on down. Now Mission pops the cleanse, trying to get himself away. PK forced the flash away. A beautiful flash, though. Snare coming out from Uniboy. Unfortunately, Mission just limping away on a couple digits of health himself. HQ, they're actually able to deny the Rift Herald away from Machi, as well as pick up their first kill of the game.
And I remember we did say, hold up, okay, they're gonna be fine.
Moonlight
HQ
Vigil.
bot lane.
There's a shot out onto Bruce. Almost gets taken down. The Q comes out from Wako. It's not enough damage, but with that much pressure coming out from this Aphelios and Thresh, that should be another turret plate, possibly even the first turret being taken here. Arrow comes out from Wako. Not going to be able to connect as he pops the question mark. As Gemini able to at least clear the minion wave, but still, that's now 4 turret plates going on over to this Aphelios.
I love the BM, but going back at Rift Herald, you know, HQ, not only did their mission of preventing that Rift Herald pickup, but also getting a bunch of, like, 1 kill at least and forcing Machi to go away. And I did mention, you know, Gangplank, not a lot of impact, but that Cannon Barrage does do a lot when you place them in choke points to prevent Machi from retreating, and it's a great way to engage on a team.
So there you go. With that, you take a look back toward the gold lead, and it's starting to spiral a little bit out of control in favor of AHQ. That's now a 3,000 gold lead with actually no neutral objectives in favor of AHQ. That's just based off the turret plating they've been able to get, as well as the CS differences when it comes into the lanes. Machi starting to fall a little bit behind here early.
Yeah, I mean, it first started with that bot lane, with HQ Duo being able to be very confident in that level 1 to level 2 transition. And I believe for Bruce, he was forced back into base 3 times already. And that's the reason why Wako has been building up even more a CS gap against Bruce.
Yeah, he's now sitting at what, 40 CS? He also just finished off the call proc, so you just got a bonus 350. And yeah, if I'm Machi right now, especially Bruce, I'm starting to get a bit concerned because he actually had to half build a Bilgewater. Let's see, AHQ wanting to test possibly for this mountain. Considering that they're actually up this mountain, we've kind of talked about how this is much more of a late game scaling comp. You have a Gangplank that's going to scale up to do a bunch of damage with barrels, also the Aphelios. You're in prime position. If you're Machi right now, you're the ones that want the gold lead AHQ have. They need to actually stop this dragon attempt, or else, unfortunately, it looks like it's just going to go on over. Koala and Bruce ultimates are available. Chris comes out. That's a lot used. It's going to be a single-man knock up onto Sarah. And it looks identical to what we saw earlier, but Uniboy not afraid, calling it, able to get on top of mission, but force the flash over toward the back. Uniboy popping his ultimate. Cannon Barrage comes in a little bit late from Leaky, just trying to use as a disengaged tool. Second Dragon was secured by Machi. Mission maybe looking for the paddle star to connect, but decides against it. And nobody goes down on either side, but second Drake over to Machi Esports.
The thing with AHQ, they have to make a pick, and they're capable of doing so. Again, if you combine that trio of Lee Sin, Lissandra, and Isera, or rather than Thresh, then it is quite possible. But when Machi comes together, they definitely have a stronger 5v5 just because of the
Wako getting some damage. Moonlight Vigil does not connect, but now immediately turns his focus on to Bruce, and Bruce regrets his life decisions there as the chakrams were spinning for Wako, but still not able to pick up a kill, but that will force them back out of lane once again, and likely now equal out into this first brick bonus now onto the Aphelios.
Yeah, BF sword, and meanwhile for Bruce, just a scepter on his hand, just for a little bit sustain when it comes to the lane, but first tower already taken down in favor of AHQ. But yeah, we did mention earlier in the draft, there's a lot of single target damage for Machi, but when it comes to the 5v5, they are capable of setting the 5v5 for themselves with the Solar Flare, with the Ornhorn, and that's the reason why HQ is respecting all of those tools, and they have to back away, and if they don't get a pick first, then unfortunately at this point of the game, they have to, retreat and reposition instead.
And unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot of more time for them to do that because, again, their composition, you are looking to be more pick, and instead of being able to find opportunities during the lane phase and during this early to mid game, now they're kind of hoping for a miracle bubble come late game, as HQ are already setting themselves up perfectly. They've now shown that they can now play against Machi in both an aggressive composition with a bunch of skirmishers and something that will scale up like we're seeing here in their second game against each other in the season.
Yeah, scaling up for HQ, you did mention, the Gangplank, and as well as definitely if Wako has already created so much impact in the damage department at this point of the game, wait till Machi has to receive more of that pain come 20 minutes to 25. It's definitely going to be a very huge burden for Machi.
And Wako, on his previous back, was able to pick up the IE, also picking up his Berserkers with a little bit of daggers, so some extra attack speed. And all right, AHQ, now they're the ones that are looking to try once again to actually take away the Rift Herald. They were a little bit late last time, as it was secured by Machi. This time around, though, they are able to get it. On top of that, too, second turret up in top lane for Leaky. And it's looking like a textbook game out here from AHQ. Not a whole lot of issues we've seen so far.
Yeah, full control all over the map. I mean, except for the dragons, but lane-wise, they have been getting priority. They've managed to funnel in a lot of gold towards Wako. You've got AHQ having the item lead over key laners, and even, picking up that Merc Treads just to counter mission and nerf him up a little bit when it comes to this match.
Yeah, unfortunately, mission this time around. Zoe, at this point, you're now just kind of farming for bubbles during some of these dragon fights, and Sure, he got himself the one first blood kill, but not able to do a whole lot with it. And now Machi, they want to try and press a little bit forward, but we expected more action out of this team, especially via the bot lane, but because Waka was able to get such a massive lead, you already have Ysera, who's already finished off the Crucible, by the way. So even on top of that cleanse, they have another cleanse available for this Aphelios. It makes it really hard for Machi to even catch him out this early on, and we're already 17 and a half minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Cleanse, Crucible, and wait till Wako picks up any more of the defensive items later on, maybe a Phantom Dancer, or maybe a Stopwatch, and Ysera not carrying an Ignite, but an Exhaust as well. So that also, you know, helps out neutralizing the incoming damage that Machi has. And we did mention there's 3 of them that would have a high impact when it comes to the damage output, but AHQ is doing so well because of their picks in general.
Yeah, and that's going to be another tower. Now, every outer tier tower taken, and for Machi too, that was kind of their last bastion of hope in the mid lane when it came to, again, vision as well as just map control. Now, though, AHQ, if they really wanted to, could easily push in the ward line into the jungle of Machi. But you do see Machi standing strong, saying, all right, you know what, we're not going to let you just take this one back. And for them, they're looking at possibly an Ocean Soul if they are able to steal this one and then get the next follow-up. It is going to be, again, arrow used onto Ysera. Gets himself away with a flash over the wall. Mission able to get some decent damage there onto Wako, but there comes the Infirm ultimate from the Moonlight visual. A 3-man knockup, though, coming out from PK, and the team fight going back in favor here of Machi. They take down 2 members, and it's still just a little bit too early for AHQ.
Yeah, it's a little bit too early. Again, it's all about getting that one pick. Everybody is pretty much low, but they're not able to finish off these targets. And yes, Wako did have that lead, but there's just too many hard CC that you have to watch out for. You've got the Solar Flare. You've also got the Leona Q stun, the Ornhorn. There's just so many to watch out for, and that's the reason why, of course, Wako would be very particular with his positioning and not, you know, prioritize that over damage.
Yeah, PK had himself a massive knockup on the Ornn there, so big play coming out from him, as that's going to be able to interrupt the damage output from Wako. You see Wako's already bailed out of this fight at that point, and I guess if you're Machi, it's fine that you're able to now set yourself up for Ocean Soul, and that might be a way in. Leaky just looking to get it, but that does force out a teleport from Mission just to keep him safe. I think for Machi, you kind of go, well, we can win these team fights if we decide to take them, but we kind of wait for AHQ to be the ones to make the mistake or make themselves vulnerable to a team fight, and it just feels not proactive.
Yeah, Machi can be patient a little bit more, always baiting out AHQ to uncomfy fights around Dragon and especially Baron, as it is going to be spawning in a few seconds. And since they have been winning, since Wako is not able to, you know, deal the damage just yet, Machi can just comfortably wait for these opportunities and rinse and repeat.
Okay, take a look at the gold graph. Wako almost has a 2,000 gold lead over Bruce, his lane opponent. He will have his rune ends here soon. So that's kind of when AHQ are going to start feeling a little bit better when it comes to their fight. Leaky's also been farmed up pretty well on that gangplank. Uniboy also up there. Like, for AHQ, the members they want to have farm, they want to be fed as the later the game goes. They're happy with how this is going. I think they're just a little displeased that they did give away now 3 dragons over to Machi, considering almost every single time they were the ones that started up the Drake fight.
Yeah, and it's, again, understandable. There's so much damage coming from Machi, and Wako is still about to be insanely scary later on after he picks up another item.
Here we go. Engage coming out from the side of Machi. Does force out a flash, and Mission with the bubbles starting to connect onto the key targets. His lane phase wasn't extremely dominant. You are going up against Alessandra, but some of these team fights in these skirmishes starting to find their mark, but let's see, is AHQ going to at least stand their ground? It appears it's going to be, as Machi look to back off toward the top side of the map.
Yeah, what's great about AHQ's composition is that, you know, Wako already has conquered the laning phase, and Uniboy on the Cassandra will eventually fall off because that's the time where QSSs are going to be building up either stopwatches as well, and eventually, yes, Lissandra's damage in general will fall off, but you have that at least fallback on towards Leaky, as the Gangplank's barrels will be insanely impactful once everything hits in a closed area, such as the Baron Pit, or possibly at, a Dragon Soul, perhaps, because Machi in 2 minutes, things aren't looking too well for AHQ at the moment.
If they can at least prevent that. I think if AHQ
yes.
are able to take one Drake here, I think it will stall out the game just long enough that Machi are going to be... Well, they'll have to make something happen, or they'll have to start siphoning some of the gold back away from AHQ, as now Wako has that Runaan's, like we mentioned. You also now have Essence Reaver online for Leaky. He has some extra cooldown reduction, as well as some crit now into the build. Gangplank will start doing some damage here if Machi aren't careful, and it's the name of the game is the scale game, apparently, as there you go, instantly cleansed away, and that's kind of the issue. You're able to get the first cleanse, but it isn't even Wako's summoner, it's actually the Crucible coming out from Ysera.
Yeah, that's good news for HQ. They have the defensive spells and at least itemization for that single target CC. Machi does not have yet, so HQ still has that window at least to pick someone off before they enter an objective, and it's all about that vision control as well, which I believe HQ has been doing decently for the past few Drakes, but this is the time. Let's see if Machi is able to secure this, or will HQ will be able to scare Machi off.
Well, for HQ, they have decided, all right, well, let's play the slow game, all right? We talked about the PCS, how they've been able to, like, kind of step up their game pace, but then, HQ the last 2 days have been like, slow down. We can relax. We can just enjoy some peaceful farming League of Legends. Whereas Machi I feel like they need to be a little bit more proactive. We keep saying that word a lot, but I want to see them do something. They have the tools to try and make plays. They're just kind of letting AHQ continue to scale and not even trying to punish, like Wako being outside there, trying to at least get another cleanse.
Thing about before in their match is that Bruce was caught out of position once or twice already.
Mission was able to get himself another good bubble into another good paddle star, and that's what we want to see from Mission. He takes down Uniboy. Now Wako gets taken on down. There's their shutdown, and Machi finally pulled a trigger onto the fight and are able to clean up multiple members of AHQ. It is going to be a trade, though, as Kong is able to trade back one. Leaky now caught out toward the side. Hook is going to land, but unfortunately, it's not enough, and AHQ are just letting Machi now take hold of the river, and that could possibly be Ocean Soul, unless Kongyu able to find a massive steal.
Looks like the members of Machi is zoning him away. He is going to be far away from reach of that potential steal, and that's going to be a hard-earned Dragon Soul in favor of Machi. And with that said, again, they have to make a pick. They have to make it an instant 4v5, and as the game progresses, things are going to be even harder for AHQ to make that happen, and Machi definitely has the stronger 5v5.
Luckily for them, they have been able to at least start to play this well, as Uniboy maybe a little bit early on the Zonias, but was a little bit uncertain whether or not Koala was going to try and jump on in, and then Wako gets soloed out by Bruce and Gemini, and unfortunately not a whole lot they could do on the side of AHQ.
Yeah, Machi's collapse was just genius. They're able to isolate Wako off of his front line, and they're able to remove him off of that. And again, Uniboy, one of the key players to be able to remove Bruce as well with his ult and combo that with whatever CC AHQ has. And yeah, they're really good at punishing AHQ.
And now you got to factor in on the side of Machi. Though they are down only 3,000 gold, you also now factor in ornaments are starting to come online. You already have the Iceborne upgraded alongside the Sunfire Cape for PK, and they can start looking like toward that Molten Cleaver now that Gemini has that completed. And actually gold efficiency kind of feels the same. A bit of an opening now for Machi for them to play much more aggressively, and we did kind of call out Mission at the beginning of the game. Last time we saw him on the Zoe, in particular against AHQ, wasn't as impressive, but has been doing his job perfectly when it comes to these dragon fights, landing these bubbles on crucial targets.
Yeah, it has been extremely effective, removing Uniboy instantaneously off of that little bit of a scattered fight. And now I fear for AHQ because they have to as the game progresses, they have so much pressure off of the map that they have to worry about Elder Drake, not only Baron, in the next fight. And at this point, Machi has been very careful, making sure that no one's isolated. No one is able to get an easy pickoff. As at this point of the game, it's pretty much everybody else will be together.
Well, here we go. 3.5 minutes then for the Elder Dragon. And then we'll see if whether or not Machi want to try and threaten possibly a Baron. Because they do have an Ashe, so they do take it relatively okay, especially when you have Gemini as well. There you go. Bruce gets caught out. No cleanse available, and that's what you got to do here. Flash on forward from Bruce. Not able to finish off the kill, but you can still tell, even though he was whipped pretty good in lane, not afraid to step up and try and take down Wako in a 1v1.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as you get that CC jump start, you're able to chunk Wako down immensely. And Kong is a
Mission.
little bit worried.
I picked up that extra flash, so he gets a little bit of extra damage off the Paddle Star, but nothing crazy, as there goes the tower in mid lane, and AHQ kind of now lose a little bit of the traction they had there in that section of the map. Second tower taken by Machi, and comes back into a reset. It feels like Machi can just try and wait around for the next Dragon, or like we mentioned, Elder or Baron to spawn. And then they can try and force AHQ to have to respawn here before their items are online, before they are ready to fight like they would like to at the late point of this game.
Yeah, that's the best part about Machi's composition, is that they have a little bit of good balance to punish any sort of isolated target like what Wako did, who was alone in lane earlier, or fight as fives in objective takes. And for HQ, again, even though Wako had a very, very good lead, they're not able to capitalize too much on this Lissandra pick to be able to shut people down early, as Mission had a pretty comfortable lane. No one was bothering him a little bit. He's 302, has 11 stacks on the Magi's, and Machi is pretty happy about the game state right now.
Yeah, the thing about Mission is, as long as he doesn't die, that Magi's keeps getting more and more dangerous. Also factor in, they just have that built-in regen because of the Ocean Drake Soul. Now 90 seconds on Elder. We get to see whether or not Machi look to try and set up a position around it, or if AHQ will be the ones that do so themselves. A nice turnaround here from Machi. Realizing even though they did lose out in the early game, they have still been able to at least fight their way back here. Still down about 1,000 gold, but not end of the world, as Gemini and Kongyu. Oh, Kongyu did not know he was on the wrong side there, as that's going to be the Battle Star now connecting over toward the side. Not enough damage actually going to fall on through. Collateral damage gets Ysera and Kongyu down to about half health. This Wako is just going to go ahead and back off, has the shurikens as well as what LCK likes to call the Caitlyn. Long-range sniper, but for now, Machi just go ahead, clear out vision, and force HQ back.
As long as they can keep Wako alive on this Aphelios, they can have a good chance of winning a fight. Problem is, there's just too many answers.
Oh boy.
Like right now.
Wako ends up just getting destroyed. Unfortunately, the Lantern won't take him back to safety, and if the Aphelios is caught out, not a whole lot AHQ can do. You can put all of your dreams and your hopes for this composition onto Wako. But if he gets caught out like that, it is game over, and Machi onto the Baron.
And the fact that Machi has double 80 carries as well, this is going to get shredded. He's asleep. He's fine.
Asleep,
HP now, though.
Still paddle starring away from the side, and that forces AHQ to have to back off. Baron's going to get taken here by Machi. No answer by AHQ. And now a real possibility for Machi to blow open this game. We didn't even see AHQ try and rotate back toward Elder Drake. They might just give that up too.
This is difficult. Again, this is Wako just started respawning, and it all started here. I did say, as long as Wako is alive, he's going to be fine, but there's just too many answers. There's just too many hard CC, to the point that when Wako dies, the composition of HQ have only him to rely on for that damage output. For Machi, they've got a ton of options when it comes to this point of the game. Gemini, Mission, and as well as Bruce. So for HQ, it's all about choosing the right targets, but it turns out there's actually 3 on Machi's side.
And I also like this too, because you can see the upgrades again coming through from PK. He's upgraded the Bork on the Ashe, but also something we haven't seen a lot of Ornn's been doing has been waiting for their mid laner to actually get Rabadons to upgrade it. Instead, usually they upgrade the Ludens, but now you can just see the raw damage that comes out of Mission on the Paddle Star alone is ridiculous with this upgrade.
For now, AHQ, it's going to be a do or die situation. But the thing is, if they walk around a little bit, stall the objective take, they're going to get poked out by Mission here. So if they got to go, they got to go.
And instantly, whoo, the damage coming through from AHQ
Lantern?
is non-existent, as there is the Call of the Forge God able to get themselves a triple knock-up. And there you go. Elder secured by Machi. This is now them in position to close out this game off one good fight if they're able to get multiple members of AHQ. And AHQ, they had the advantage early. Unfortunately, this slow gameplay has been, again, exploited by Machi as they're able to turn things back around. Got the Soul, got Elder, got Baron.
They got everything from Machi. And AHQ, unfortunately, had to stay and watch everything just get snatched away from them. Again, early game lead for AHQ, but comfy lane for at least Mission and as well as Gemini. Therefore, unfortunately, for K2, is able to scale well and provide that arrow to remove Wako instantaneously. And now it's just a pretty... They're surgically removing everything away from AHQ at the moment, and HQ has no choice but to watch it happen.
Yeah, nothing they can really do at this point. You got pressure coming in from multiple lanes. Bot lane tower isn't taken down just yet, but now mid lane's going to be focused. Boy and Leaky, they can try and clear it all they want. Unfortunately, it is Baron buffed minions, so Cannon's going to stay alive. Ysera just brings it back to get it a little bit closer, but you can just see another bubble going to land there from Mission. And those Paddle Stars are just looking for spikes of damage. In comes the engage as well as all the ultimates go wide. Wako, though, still gets knocked up in the end. He tries to get himself back to safety, but Konyu has to trade his life in return. And now jungle down. Wako has to go back onto the base with no summoners available. Machi want to press forward, get revenge for the loss that they suffered yesterday or last week up against AHQ. Is now, unfortunately, on the side of AHQ, there's really nothing left. Leaky almost gets taken down by the execute, and the minion wave now in bot as well as mid look to press toward the base.
Jan, that's still 18 seconds on the clock more or less for Konyu to respond, and we'll have to see if Machi wants to push forward with this as HQ. Oh no,
it's up to HQ. It's up to Wako. Can he 200 years? That's the gold age question. The execute, though, comes out onto Ysera, and exhaust is there. But you see those health bars about half for Machi. Wako, there is still an opportunity for him to bring back this fight, and Machi realized this and decided to back off.
Respecting still Wako on towards this Aphelios pick. And, you know, Machi can afford to do so. They can afford to go back. They've already done what they needed. As it all started here, with everything, the ult, unfortunately the Crystal Arrow did not hit anybody, but at the same time, Machi is just very ahead with the Zoe bursts and as well as everything else.
And unfortunately, too, for the side of Machi, they did start to realize that Wako was kind of remaining untouched during a lot of this. He was, you know, all his summoners were blown, but without those engaging tools available in the form of the Ashe Arrow or that Leona ultimate, really hard to lock him down, so... him just being able to clear the wave and still getting good chips of damage off those flamethrower auto attacks is enough to force them to back off from the base.
And the sad part is that I don't think Bruce's cleanse, Zoe's cleanse, Mission's cleanse were actually forced out on that engage, and therefore HQ has to deal with the second wave of attack with all of those defensive spells still intact. And I did mention, you know, as the game progresses, Bruce will be picking up any sort of defensive items, which will make it even harder to eliminate him. And there you go, a stopwatch in the bag, a Phantom Dancer in the bag.
You also see there from Wako has decided he's just going to go ahead into, I believe now, the Bloodthirster, just get a little bit extra lifesteal as well as that shielding, as they do need that themselves. Next Elder Drake, though, will spawn in 2 minutes. Baron about a minute out itself, as Konyu's actually gone ahead and picked up the GA as PK. Is he going to get caught out here? has to force out a flash, gets himself over the wall, but you do see, unfortunately, he is a tanky boy in the form of that Ornn with the double upgraded. And guess what? Top lane's just going to get pushed on in. That's going to be triple inhibs taken by Machi. As now AHQ are going to have to turtle back in their base now for the next bit, as that's going to be Call of Forge God used instantly, trying to go for the knockup. Wako does not have the right guns for this fight. He needs to get rid of the Gravitum. Unfortunately, he's just there for kiting. PK gets brought on back, but still Wako is alive on this Aphelios, picks up one kill, and Machi starting to have trouble to try and isolate this fight back, but Bruce turns it back around. Wako now on the front line. He's just front line tanking. What's he doing? He gets taken on down. It's a double kill for Bruce, and even though the lane phase went so awful for this damn Ashe, Bruce turns it back around, and Machi get revenge for last week as they're able to tie the head-to-head between AHQ for Summer 1-1 with a victory over AHQ Esports Club.
What a crushing victory over AHQ. Machi's going to be pretty happy about that. It's all about turtling. It's all about having a solid 5v5, and despite again Bruce not having the best time in the world for the first 10 minutes of the game, they still managed to pressure all of these objectives as a 5-man team.
Yeah, luckily for them, the comp was very much, can we get a pick at the beginning of a fight? It'll work out in our favor. And luckily for them, Mission was on the ball this time around. It came to his bubbles. Bruce, as well as Koala, were able to land their ultimates onto the key targets they needed to, and that's even with the cleanses, the plethora of cleanses available on over to Wako. I also got to kind of hammer Wako. There's multiple times where he just gets caught out being the front line, and that's why PK was able to get the kill in mid lane. There's a couple times as Aphelios needed not to get caught out, but ended up still doing so. Unfortunately, Leaky, we just never really saw the Gangplank get that miracle barrel combo at the end of the game.
I think the biggest problem for AHQ is that, yes, Wako has a ton of peel from the Thresh, from Melisandre, possibly even from, the Cannon Barrage sometimes as an initiation, but the problem is they aren't exactly front lines. They're all so squishy. Bruce can just shred through everybody, and if you're already locked by any sort of hard CC from Machi's team, which they are very rich in when it comes to their skill sets, AHQ definitely will have a harder time in these 5v5s in the objective takes.
And there you go. You can take a look back on the graphs. It was an AHQ favored little matchup for the majority of that mid game, but unfortunately not a whole lot they could do. And off the back here of Mission in particular, had a really good Zoe game, really stepped up. Must have heard us, talking some smack about his last performance on the champion. This time around, able to perform very well, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's not. I'd be shocked if he's not our MVP, because he had himself an excellent game.
Yeah, he had a lot of key paddle stars, and it really ruined AHQ's day for them to just have a very slimmer chance when it comes to these objectives. And yeah, the rest of the squad from AHQ's picks are very insanely squishy, and they're definitely food in front of that Zoe pick.
So for AHQ, unfortunately, now they have to deal with the fact that they're tied 1-1 against Machi when it comes to the regular season double round robin, which also now means that if they do tie, Machi and them would have to likely play a tiebreaker instead of, just getting the auto win as they probably would wish. So just something to think toward the end of the season if you're a fan of AHQ. For Machi, though, who knows? This might be the start of the streak once again, looking for an undefeated second round robin. As PK actually gonna get MVP. Understandable. Had some good engages, as well as being that frontline tank and providing a lot of CC and catches out onto Wako.
Yeah, triple knockup at the first ever Drake take. Actually, a lot of the Ornn horns were very key to catching out Wako and the rest of the retreating squad of AHQ. So a very well-deserved MVP title on PK on this match.
As you saw, dropping the M there with the hands, so not too shabby there from PK. Instead of having to be on a carry himself, just go ahead, play something like an Ornn with some tank and do well. We have an interview actually with our MVP as we throw it on over to Patty.
Mission 在夏季赛的时候，其实就选过就对上 AHQ 的时候就选过柔一嘛。那这次对上 AHQ 的时候，又是基于什么样的原因之下去选择柔一呢？
So the last time you guys been facing against AHQ, your mid laner Mission chose Zoe to play against them. And today, he chose Zoe again. So why did you guys keep on choosing Zoe against AHQ?
因为他今天说他这次很有信心啊，所以就选。
So Mission told us that he's very confident in the Zoe pick, so that's why he chose it, and we let him choose it.
那我们就接续你刚刚讲到，他觉得他今天对柔一很有信心。但我想问的问题是，你的2今天是怎么了？好像你的手特别的火烫。
So what about you on your champion today?
我今天比赛前看了一下京东的影片，我就觉得2好像有点强，我就想玩。
So because I watched some films today, and I think the is pretty strong, so that's why I chose it.
那 AHQ 其实他们的战术会选亚菲利又算是非常的明显。那基于什么原因你们这样不选择 ban 掉亚菲利用？
So if we look at AHQ, they will choose Aphelios if you guys do not ban it in almost every game. So why didn't you guys ban Aphelios? Why did you guys did not ban Aphelios?
因为我们艾希对上亚菲六这个组合，我们练习了很多次，所以就没有打算要去 ban 这样。
So we practiced a lot of Ashe and versus Aphelios, and we were pretty confident with our Ashe against Aphelios. That's why we did not ban it.
那最后一题还是来关心一下你们队伍的近况，因为在夏季赛你们目前在这场比赛战胜 AHQ 之前，其实碰到前3名的队伍都是落败的，包含在你们上周其实才刚输给 AHQ 过。那你觉得你们现在刚好进入到第2轮，是有开始去做什么调整来应对这些强队了吗？
So your performance in the summer season so far was okay, but not spectacular, and it's kind of different from the way you guys performed last season, which was off the charts. So now going into the second round, how are you going to perform? What do you think?
我觉得主要是我们可能前面失误有点多吧，我们就主要把那些输的场的失误改掉，然后基本其他就正常这样。
I think it is because that we made a few mistakes, kind of a lot of mistake in the early games, so in the games that we played so far. So if we fix those mistakes, then we will be performing better in the second round.
OK， 那也恭喜你们拿下这场比赛的胜利，当然也感谢翻译。我就刚刚提到，原来是参考京东的。
All right, so. Oh, geez, super loud. All right, coming back to us over here. Yeah. It looks like even the main feed casters had the question: were they confident to actually let Mission go back onto a Zoe after the kind of lackluster performance that we had seen previously in their match against AHQ and some other times? So glad to see the team is still comfortable and confident with their mid laner. Of course, though, we still have one more game of action still left to come. We're going to see Taipei J Team taking on Nova Esports after a short break.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.